What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Billy Collins.
MATJ.
And this is Magician and the Jock. On this episode, guys, we're going to dive into one of my favorite people. Not myself, but the one Matt Dodge.
Jockules.
Jockules. That's a great name.
Choppin' Jockules. So how do you want to dive into me, man? I need to have that defined first.
So we kind of know a little bit about back in the past how you got into football.
You want to do some football stories?
I want to do some football stories. I want to go into the back behind the scenes of football and your journey.
Provide some insight, information beyond the obvious.
Right. Yeah, something that we don't see on Sundays.
Some juicy stories.
Nuggets.
Okay.
Let's go right to what was it like walking in for the first day as a rookie?
As a rookie, it's kind of like walking into a new school. You're trying to figure out where everything is. Cognizant of everything I was doing. I wanted to try and fit in, but also figure out where everything was. I had the advantage as a rookie. You go to rookie minicamp, which happens before the big training camp, so not everybody was there. But I can remember the first day I walked into kind of like the cafeteria or whatever, and lo and behold, sitting right there was Eli Manning. And I was like...
Were you starstruck?
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a weird because it's a teammate, but I didn't view him like that. I was like, that's Eli Manning.
Is it like when you come and sit next to me?
Yeah, but way better.
Whoa.
Like, when I sit next to him, I'm like, oh, God. Back to reality. Life comes at you hard or fast. But, yeah, so I saw him. He was just a normal dude. It's weird. Now, I never got super close with Eli, but, close enough. It was funny when I got drafted by the Giants, my buddies were like, dude, you're going to be able to give Eli Manning a high five. And I'm like, dude, I'm a punter. If I'm running on the field, that means they just got stopped.
Yeah.
It's fourth down. He's not going to be like, hell yeah, Matt.
Give me 5.
You're my favorite guy. So.
He saw you and went,
damn punter, damn kicker.
I did it wrong.
Yeah, so Eli was great, man. But that was the first. And then I remember seeing Brandon Jacobs. I'm not a massive NFL fan, especially not really now, but, then... definitely, I was watching the NFL more.
Right.
And there was the New York Giants is kind of a household name.
It's one of the 4 staples. Like you got the Redskins, Cowboys, 49ers, and Giants. And maybe Steelers.
The what skins?
The Washington.
The football team. The football team.
Washington football team.
Yeah, but I like New York and Dallas. Those are kind of the 2 upper echelon, in my opinion, for having fans everywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like Green Bay was badass because of you're kind of, if you're a season ticket holder, I think you're part owner of the team or whatever.
Right, yeah.
It almost felt like a really big, like local high school team, but obviously it was a huge stadium. So yeah, that was the first most famous person I saw. I saw a lot of big name players at the combine too. I remember when I got there, I was 2 or 3 people behind Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, okay.
If you remember that guy. He was huge. I mean, Florida football was massive then. You had Hernandez.
That was almost like a pro football team.
Yeah, man.
Was that the Warren Sapp? No. That was
you're
way
so old, dude. Come on, man.
Warren Sapp's my age.
Was that Charlie Chaplin?
No. Is that Dick Butkus?
So I saw some of those guys. I remember seeing Terrence Cody, Mount Cody. He played at Alabama. At the combine, and the combine was kind of weird. I know I'm kind of taking a step back, but you really feel like cattle, man. Like you have to strip down to your kind of like compression shorts, and you go up on stage in front of all of the teams, the scouts, without your shirt on. You get weighed and all that stuff, and it really is like a cattle call. But now I was like, hell yeah, this is what I've been training for.
I lift the weights.
I wanted to hear it's like, ooh, that's a punter, but. I guess I was a big deal for a punter, but compared to those guys. But I remember Terrence Cody was massive, if you remember that guy.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty sloppy body, I'm not going to lie. Ridiculously athletic for how big he was, but he was a couple ahead of me because obviously Cody, then Dodge. And I remember I was like, crap, he's got to take his shirt off. So I felt kind of bad for him. people ask, did I run the 40 or I didn't do any of that stuff. I was just there to kick and go home. Now at the senior day at East Carolina, that's where I did, the vertical.
Agility skills.
Yeah, man, I did 36.5-inch vertical. I was somewhere around there at 226 pounds. I was pretty pumped about that. Didn't run a 40, man. I ran 140 in college. And this was actually junior day. So it's like June, the scouts come in and see here are the rising seniors. I ran 140 and blew my hamstring out. It looked like I got hit by a sniper, like about 30 yards in, popped my hamstring out. Fortunately, got to miss winter conditioning, which was pretty nice. But at the senior day at East Carolina, I did do the bench press. I was pretty pumped about that. I trained for it for a couple weeks.
So are you naturally a fast person?
Hell no, dude. I ran a forever. I blew my I couldn't even finish a 40, dude. Like
I just
I was pretty quick, always good at like basketball and stuff, but when the straight line, no, I probably could have ran like a 4.8, something like that, if I, judging on when I got shot by the sniper and the time. But I remember running it, my special teams coordinator was like, "What the hell are you doing, dude? What are you doing?" Like, he thought I was done. But no, I did do the 225 test, and I took some pride in that. I think I got number 24 to like right here. So I did it 23 and 7/8. Yeah, I remember the scouts like, "Oh, we want to see this." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm showing out." So I went as hard as I could. And the shitty thing was that I had to punt in like 15 minutes.
So your chest is just swole.
Had the world's greatest pump. I looked amazing, but I could not like close. I'm like, "Guys, I need some glutamine, rub some Bengay on my chest and triceps." I was so pumped up. But yeah, I had to go out and punt. And I remember the New England Patriots guy was there. I'm like so pumped. But hey, I did the 225. I wish I could go back. I think the record's 25.
The record's 25?
For punters or kickers, yeah. And I did it 23 and 7/8.
So close.
And I'm not built. I mean, I got these. I can tie my shoes without bending over. I got these long arms. Not exactly built for the bench press, but
that's still good though.
I made it happen, man.
That's strong. I mean, we all know that you're.
We all know that.
You're a massive beast. Whatever.
I want to say it was my junior year. We were playing. No, it might have been my senior year. Playing Virginia Tech at home. It was a Thursday night game. And that's where Kirk Herbstreit, I'll have to find that clip and see if I can add it into this, where he donned me the bodybuilding punter. So I was like, hell yeah. Like, everybody was texting my flip phone, like, dude, the bodybuilding punter. But yeah, so Eli Manning was the most famous person I saw at Giants in rookie minicamp, and then training camp, you see everybody else, and maybe that's a good kind of segue into
let's talk about that.
How are rookies treated?
Yeah, let's talk about rookie hazing.
Yeah,
we all have heard stories,
Well, you played sports, man. Anytime it's a group of guys, you're gonna have veterans and rookies. And you got to earn your way on. It's kind of a rite of passage. So whenever I see them, like, we got to get rid of hazing or whatever. No, man, it's actually now. I'm not for like cruelty or none of it.
Shoving pins in your chest.
Yeah, I mean, but so I'll set the groundwork as a rookie, and a lot of people have probably seen Hard Knocks, where they see they have to get up in front of the team and sing and stuff. We definitely had to do that. So you had to get up in front of the entire team, and you had to say what your signing bonus was, and then you had to sing a song. Now, I've got the voice of an angel.
What was your song?
Anyone that knows me, especially around Christmas time, I'm a big Bing Crosby guy. So that song's like, ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, 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 ba-doom. I'm like, when they said I had to get up and sing, I'm like, well, I know what I'm singing, dude. This is going to bring the house down. Now, if you suck, it's not even so much if you're not a great singer, but if you just go up there and just kind of half-ass it,
they're going to give it to you.
They're going to start chanting something, and they're going to start chanting, cold tub, cold tub, cold, and they will get you. I saw another rookie got taped up and thrown into the cold tub. So you got to put out a big effort. So I went up there, Matt Dodge, I think my signing bonus was like 60 or 70,000, and they're like, whoa, and I'm like, and I started singing, but I realized I don't really project my voice too much when I'm singing, and they were like, cold tub me. And at the second ba-doom, ba-doom, they're like, cold tub. So
It was probably the ba-dum-ba-dums.
Ba-dum. You have to do that. And I'm like, I'm dreaming. And they're like, get this freaking punter off the stage. But I did get redemption. And they said, all right, we're going to come back after lunch or the next day or something. You got to redeem yourself. So I did some research, and I thought of what would be a song that would absolutely crush. And I was like, what do tigers dream of when they take a little tiger sneeze? And I sang that
From The Hangover.
Oh, yeah. Don't you worry, of course, we're gonna... You know that song.
Yeah.
And I belted it, went crazy, got a standing O, clearly. Didn't get thrown in the cold tub. So that's kind of all rookies have to go through that.
Yeah.
Right? You just got to be a good sport, man. I was a punter, so I knew I didn't have a huge ego anyway, so I kind of knew, it's weird. In my life, I played every other sport. I was the captain of like the basketball team, or every team I was on, I was like the badass. But
right.
the sport that I went the furthest was as a punter. It's like the tallest midget in the circus. That's not much to brag about.
But so there was another story that you got.
So the legit hazing.
Yeah,
all rookies have to sing, and on some of the Hard Knocks they had like talent shows. We just had to sing, but I knew there was going to be something was going to happen. You
weren't getting out that easy.
I knew that. And it actually didn't come from my position group, like our veteran kicker or veteran long snapper. But anyways, our training camp was at a college in Albany. It might have been Albany University or something like that. And you stay in what I guess I would classify as like dorm/apartments, but it felt like a dorm, right? You're rooming with a guy that's like 350 pounds that... Man, I don't know. Needs to be hooked up to a sleep apnea machine. Like,
God, can't get any sleep because it sounds like a train coming through.
God, dude. So yeah, we had, the different practices or whatever, came back into the room, time to go to bed, right? So, you sleep in your underwear, you climb up into the bed, go to sleep, right? I wake up the next morning, and I had no idea. And I'll set the groundwork a little bit. When I got drafted, Jeff Fiegels was still on the Giants, right?
Yeah.
He played for 20 plus years. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Like,
you're going to sit behind this guy.
Is this going to be like Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre? I'm probably that talented as a football player. But he was still there. Well, first or second day of training camp, he announced his retirement, which it was kind of all but a formality at that point. Yeah. I was the only punter there. That was going on right around the same time. So I woke up, went to like the dirty dorm room mirror, I looked into it and I was like, took some water, splashed it in my eyes, and I'm like, what the why is my skin was like very splotchy it was either purple or green. I looked like a tie-dye shirt, but it was my skin. And I'm thinking,
what disease do I have?
Dude, what? Dead serious. I was Googling diseases that you can catch in a dorm that turn your skin a different color. It's like big clouds of just splotches. Right at the same time that Fiegels said, I want to formally announce that I'm retiring.
So,
which means all the cameras are looking at him, and then they go right to me.
Because you're next to
the idiot that looks like you got in a water balloon fight filled with paint, and it was dry, like bad tattoos. Well, what happened, there was a guy on the offensive line named Rich Soybert. He was there for a number of years. I thought he hated me for a long time. And anyways, he had a friend in the New York Police Department, NYPD. Maybe you heard of it. Well, have you ever robbed a bank?
Once.
Yep. So the bag, the big, with the big dollar sign on it, when you open it and it just, like it inks you and it like instantly you can't get it off.
The dye packs, yeah.
He got the powder somehow from that and sprinkled it in my bed. Now that stuff, you literally can it's kind of like the world's hottest sauce. You just need one drop. But it was the same way with that. He put like the entire thing, and when it touches any kind of liquid, it starts to expand. And obviously when you're sleeping, you perspire.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit was stuck in my skin.
And that doesn't come off.
Doesn't come off at all. In fact, it multiplies. Probably until like the 4th week of the season. I'm I mean, we're talking 2 or 3
So you're
months.
sitting there.
It would slowly, it started to fade, but it got into all my clothes. And like, I remember walking into the locker room. The locker room was kind of, because this was training camp. It was in a gymnasium at Albany College. And I walked in, I'm like, dude, that was pretty good. I don't know what the hell. Like, I found out
How
he
did you
did
know
it.
that?
Someone said it like, oh, Rich got you, dude. He put that shit in your bed. And I saw him and I'm like, yeah, man, that was pretty good. But I, gained a lot of respect from him. But I think his exact words when I walked by, I was like, effing kicker. I said it just like that. But that was mine. So that was pretty extreme.
Yeah, I would say so, especially when you're on TV because you're the next in
Bro,
line.
and I'm having to like,
following a legend.
like, don't worry, guys.
Don't worry, it's all safe.
Yeah. The moron looks like a reject X-Man. Like, but that dude
I could just see. Look, I could just picture you as the camera's just rolling over it, and you're just covering his, and you're waving like Forrest Gump when he's on the boat. He's just like,
yeah, there's my boat. Yeah. I had to do interviews like, yeah, I'm really excited about this opportunity. I hope I don't have a terminal disease. But then like you go out to practice, you're sweating like young jock trying to read, sweating hard, which is just making that like one powder that hadn't burst yet. It's like, bloop, and like I'm signing autographs and people are like, ooh, man.
What is wrong with him?
Go take a bath, dude.
No, thanks. I don't need it.
Bro, Ajax couldn't wipe that stuff off. So if you ever need a good prank, man, do that. But that was my rookie hazing. And you know what? I gained a lot of, like, I took it in stride, didn't have any more.
Did anyone get upset?
Like, yeah, some of them were like, oh, you ain't going to get me. That's like curse.
It's like a target.
It's a kiss of death, man. Yeah, especially the higher draft pick guys, they need to be humbled.
Yeah.
And they did. They got humbled pretty hard.
And yeah, it's like a rite of passage.
Hell yeah, man. It was like my second training camp, it gave me the right to then prank others.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to earn your way onto the team.
I guess all the rookies got something.
All, yes.
But I would think if you
merciless,
didn't, then if you were not worthy enough.
And if you acted like you were offended, it's kind of like you're a big brother. I'm a big brother. Like you figure out what button to push, and you just push it as hard. I took it in stride, laughed, and it was like, okay, cool. He's cool. But that was my hazing, man.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool though.
It was. I was terrified.
Brutal. Sounds brutal.
It was annoying. It ruined all my clothes because it gets in your clothes and it's splotch. It's like when you wash your clothes with like an ink pen in there. And it just But it was with everything.
So do you have any other interesting stories coming from that? And we'll get into the field aspect of your career, but as far as behind it, or were there any like going out and getting into fist fights or?
And we went out in Lower Manhattan, which coming from Morehead City and Greenville. I remember the first night out in Manhattan. Where were we at? It was like One Oak or something. Anyone that's been out in New York probably has heard these names. But it was like 1:30 was coming around. And I'm like, all right, guys, we need to, this is before Uber. I'm like, dude, we got to find a cab, like, let's get ready to go. And they're like, nah, dude, we didn't. That was the first time I ever stayed out, came out of the club, and it was light outside. We stayed out till 6:30 in the morning. I have no idea. And this is before I was addicted to cocaine. That would have helped.
That would have kept me out.
I should have got picked. No, I'm kidding. But that probably would have helped. But yeah, the nightclubs, it was different, man. Up until about 2 years ago, I still had a club promoter that would text me the most ridiculous text, like, Matt, come to XYZ club. 3,000 models are waiting for you. I'm like, how does that even logistically work? He'd be like, you got bottle service with Kim Kardashian. I'm like, I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Yeah,
but
you just want me in there.
You get connected with those guys because they want to bring, if you come to the club, their job is to sell drinks, right? So they want to get you to come in. They'll give you a place and you'll, hopefully attract others. But New York was weird, man, because I was in the NFL, but I was a D-list celebrity in New York. I mean, there's one night I got invited, my roommate and I got invited to this red carpet thing, some kind of charity. It was just an excuse to, kind of virtue signal or whatever. But got in, and it looked like a hole in the wall establishment, but inside there was John Mayer. Who's that little guy that, Jason Mraz?
Jason Mraz, yeah.
The cast from Twilight, and like Matt Dodge. And I'm sitting here like, thank God my skin had like healed. They would have thought I was like starting to transform to like I don't know, Barney or something.
I'm just I'm a thespian. And
man.
My makeup has.
I wear what I feel. They were, but what I know, those guys, John Mayer was tall. I remember Jason Mraz, dude. He looked like a sewer rat, dude. Very talented.
Little fella.
Tiny, and looked like he didn't smell real good. Just looked dingy.
I can see him on TV. It looked like
it was just weird, but it was surreal at the same time. So being in New York, there's always something going on in New York. But yeah, I got to party with them. I was there for a little while, but then we ended up leaving. So yeah, that was some behind the scenes.
It's kind of weird when you see celebrities like that they're just normal people. Like, but when I was in LA, I was.
Oh, here comes some name dropping.
I was at a cookout. You probably don't, but Matthew Fox was there, and this before Party of Five had started. And
what were you doing in LA?
I was just visiting with some friends.
Just want to see some famous people.
Yeah.
I was on the latter end of it. Now everyone's got camera phones and stuff. Like, celebrities have to be so reserved. I mean, you imagine if Twitter and camera phones and Instagram and all that stuff was around when like Lawrence Taylor was playing in the NFL.
Oh my God. Just the hooker stories from him.
Man.
The capturing.
Find where the bodies are buried. I got another funny story.
What's it?
Almost started a race war in college.
Why am I not surprised?
Why are you not surprised, dude?
It's not for the race. Because you're just you can be antagonistic sometimes.
Yeah, this was kind of like college version of training camp. So we have a summer camp, right? It's where it's usually 2 or 3 weeks before the other students get to campus, leading up to. You keep looking over there. You're freaking me out. Somebody walking in. There. Mom. God, but anyways, it's a couple weeks before the regular students get there, right? Which means there's 120 guys, dudes, right? There's might be 3 chicks. One of them is like the cafeteria lady who looks like Shrek.
The maid from Billy Madison,
bro.
I'll let you shave my armpits.
Or the ones I made them extra sloppy for you. But dude. In like 2 weeks and not seeing a female, you would drink her bathwater. She was that hot.
She was smoking.
And then there was the athletic trainers who, a couple of the girls, they started looking amazing. So anyways, it's camp. It sucks.
Right.
And all the real football players, position players, they have position meetings, right? Where you just watch film, put in like, hey, if it's a new coach, you're putting in a new offense or defense or whatever, they're in meetings all day. And as a punter or a kicker, you literally have the team meeting, which is maybe 10 minutes long. Then you'd have special teams meeting, which is another maybe 15 minutes long. And that's all the meetings we had to do, right? There's only
all this time.
You have so much free time.
The idle mind's the devil's playground.
That's what they say. And the devil came to play this day. So it's no surprise. Football teams it's an athletic sport, which means there's a lot of black dudes, right? So, I mean, this is kind of an aside, but we had like there was a 2-week argument going on Jay-Z versus Lil Wayne. Like that's on the bus. And I'm like, man, they're both pretty cool, man. What about Kenny Chesney, But shut the hell up.
You like Garth Brooks?
But we had so much downtime, but you have to be there. I mean, it was the same in the NFL. Like, I saw something online, a kicker took up whittling because he's sitting by his locker so much. But they had just redone the locker room at East Carolina, right? Before there was like a couch and one TV. Well, they gutted everything, and now it's like the locker room set up where you have like the logo. Have you seen that where it's roped off? You're not allowed to do it. But they had TVs suspended from the ceiling, right? So there'd be 3 like almost like I don't know how to describe it, like a TV stand. So there's 3, like one's facing that way, one's that way, and there were 6 total. So there's 2 things. So anywhere you were in the locker room, you could see the TV. Athletic sport, primarily my Black Brothers was on there, which meant BET was on that TV on all 6 every second of the day. Hip Hop Countdown. Great, which makes sense. I mean, you can't have 6 different channels going on. It's just going to be a mess. So It was on nonstop, right? One day, we got this great idea, like, hey, we got all this free time. Everybody hates us anyways because they're actually real football players. You know, we don't do anything. I'm like, I'm going to run a prank on these guys. I believe it was my idea, but I had heard somewhere you could program a TV, right? You could program the channel list that are on a TV. And I was like, dude, how funny would it be if I just programmed it? BET was channel 52, I believe. I went individually to each TV and deleted BET off it.
Oh my God!
Just deleted it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
This is going to be classic.
They're gonna think I'm hilarious. And I'm like, why don't we just put all the TVs on white entertainment? No, CMT. Put on country music television. And I did. And then we just sat back. And they started filing in, 3-4, man, yeah, we got to learn the 3-4. What about, we got to run that route? And they're like, so she thinks my tractor's sexy. Like, what the hell is this? And they looked at it, and I'm like, watch. And they're like, damn it, you punters and kids. Like, that was pretty good. They went and got the remote. CMT was 54. And they go up to the TV. It was like 54, 53, 51. They're like, the hell? 51, 53, 53.
And then they type it in.
What the? Yes. And they already didn't like it that we had CMT on there. They're already on edge. The cafeteria lady is looking like the smoke show of the planet. And these damn punters and kickers, me primarily, I think the other kickers were like, he did it. Bro, playing big-time college football, NFL, it's a lot of pressure with that. You got to perform under pressure. I've never had to perform under pressure like I did when I had to go, because I knew how to delete them. I was like, I think I know how to add them back, so I had to go to each one. I'm like, for the love of God, Jesus.
Please.
I will never drink again. I will never see color again. I will delete CFT. For the love of God, please let me add BET back on these TVs under the watchful eye of like 6'4", 315-pound black D tackles that are like
ready to crush.
Yeah. So it got bad, dude. But fortunately, dude, ice water in my veins, performed it. Never allowed to touch the remote ever again.
You touch that remote, it goes up your ass.
But dude, there was about 85 pissed off black dudes that all simultaneously figured out, yo, 52 ain't on this TV no more. And they just started thinking, holy shit, we're going to have to be here for 2 more weeks. And I can't watch Hip Hop Countdown. What the hell?
Like, I see all of them just turning around all at one time and just looking right at you.
Mine, dude. All the TVs were like guys riding horses and like there's American flag waving and it's like proud to be an American and
put
like
knitting on or something.
Oh God, dude. So yeah, almost started a race war.
Jeez. So let's move forward to the on field, the first day that you stepped on field in an actual game, not preseason, but just
college or pros.
Pros. Did you get to play, or was it pretty much a?
Did I get to play? Yeah, dude, I was on the team.
I know, but I mean, was it like they ran up the score, or so you only got maybe 1 or 2 punts in?
Oh, I can't remember. We punted a pretty good amount. To me, the preseason was pretty nerve wracking. I mean, it's a full stadium. It's big time football. I remember being very, very nervous, almost debilitatingly nervous, because we have so much downtime. My position is so mental, right? I always say it's like a skill within a sport. I'm not rewarded as a punter of trying real hard, right? It's like golf, right? You want to be, it's all about tempo and keeping even killed. I'm not the guy's like, this is what we play for. I'm not that guy. So it was pretty nerve wracking, especially given the fact that The first time I ever punted in front of the team was at rookie minicamp, and I was hitting bombs. Right, I was a big ball punter. I remember this was the preseason, and I was struggling. So we changed everything. Right, it's like anyone that plays golf. Like right before, hey, change your grip, change everything, and you're like, I can't even tee the ball up anymore.
Get your stance.
And I remember I was at practice, and I was struggling, and the coach came over and said something like, "Look, Matt, don't worry, dude. Like, it takes 10,000 reps before it becomes a habit." Like, I guess he had just read like Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point.
He was on that.
And I'm like, hey, dude, we're playing in 2 days.
I don't have much time.
I'm on rep number 391. Like, so I got to have 9,700 more before this feels comfortable. Needless to say, it was pretty nerve-wracking. Being perfectly honest, I know I joke a lot, man. That was a lot of stress in my life. Like, there were times I was praying to get cut. It felt like I regressed so much, which life a lot of times is like that. To get better, you got to take a step back. That would have been great if I could redshirt and just I had to play. I had to perform today, and I just changed everything yesterday. And if you don't perform today, you're getting cut tomorrow. That's kind of how the NFL was. When you first get somewhere as a rookie or as a freshman or whatever, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like, where do I get my cleats? Or what do I do if I need more socks? Or, what time is the meeting? Where is the meeting room? Like, you're questioning everything. So that was pretty brutal. But I remember I talked to John Casey, if you remember him, kicker for the Panthers. Yeah. He gave me
long time.
He gave me some good advice after the game, so I got to meet a lot of those guys. I actually did a camp for him my senior year and between my senior year and getting drafted. So I met him before, but man, it was nerve-wracking, dude. And it was a very up and down season. I'll just put it that way.
So was sitting on the sidelines because you had to deal with a lot of the fans. Were they brutal or were they?
Fans are like? Yeah. I mean, the punter is not exactly the most.
But I would think you would hear
I heard a lot
ribbing other people, or not necessarily you.
You do. Well, me for sure, because you have so much downtime. Yeah. Right, you're sitting there. Got it in college too. I remember at Virginia, I had like a 3-yard punt, hit right off the side of my foot. Like, I almost missed it. It's almost like when you play golf and you swing a driver as hard as you can, and you top it and it goes 1 inch.
Yeah.
You're like, I could never do that again if I tried.
Pretty much every one of my drives.
So I did that and ran off to the sideline, and we have the kicking net, and I was right in front of the Greek life.
Oh,
all the frat boys, and they're like, "Dodge, that just happened." And it's like from me to you, and I'm like, God, you can't escape it. But the pros, in the pros, you're paid to play, obviously, right? So they give you very little grace, right? You have a very short leash because in the fans' mind, like, dude, you're making NFL money. You're a gazillionaire. You have one job.
You have no
Why
worries.
can't you do this? So you don't get nearly as much leeway. And that was the toughest thing about the NFL. Most guys will say, look, they prefer playing on the road, right? It's just you, your team, maybe a couple of your family, but it's the opposing team. So when you're playing on the road and they're booing, that's good for you, right? You never get booed as the visiting team, right? Playing in New York, in the Northeast in general, but especially in New York, it'd be the first drive of the game. And if Eli had a 3-and-out, it would be boos galore. And I'm like, what the hell? So the fans are pretty brutal. Lawrence Tynes gave me a tip. He said, dude, wear earplugs. So that's what I did. So those little rubber thing, I had those in 24/7. And that certainly helped. You're sitting there, the fans are 10 feet behind you, right? And you can see that you got your name on the back of your jersey. So they will just yell your name, Dodge, constantly. I mean, to the point where you finally turn around and you're like, dude, what? And they're like, you're dumb. They never, it's like a dog chasing a fire truck. They don't know what to do when they catch it. So, but I remember playing at Philly. And it was cold, right? In the Northeast, it was so damn cold, man. God, brutally cold. And I wore a glove on my left hand. If you watch punters now, you'll see a lot of them wear that glove on their off hand. I'm a right-footed punter, dropped it with my right hand, so I'd always wear that. And I guess I didn't have a great punt or something. This was the first time we played them. And they're like, Dodge, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep yelling your name. And I turn around, and this big fat dude that like probably had pizza stain. I mean, it looked like straight off of the Sopranos. It's like, why don't you put a glove on your foot? And when he said, it was the dumbest thing, but the funniest shit I ever heard. And they're like, yeah, Tony, you got him. And like Lawrence Tynes was like, dude, that was pretty funny. So there were some, but why don't you put a glove on your foot? And it was like, dude, it was hilarious. That was the best zinger that anyone gets. It was pretty innocent, but hilarious, dude.
That's good stuff.
But they'll keep yelling until you acknowledge them. They don't, especially when you have a zinger like that. They're gonna wait until they got your full attention. I'm like, what, dude? So, yeah, the fans were pretty brutal.
So, as time went on with kicking and all that fun stuff in the NFL,
yep.
What were one of your best games? Like, what was? Did you have a game that sticks out where you just powered the football? Did you punt it?
Where you're in like the groove.
Yeah,
right.
Like
you're in the zone. Well, I'll rewind to college. My sophomore year, we were playing at West Virginia. I remember it like it was yesterday, and we got killed. I think we lost 42-7. But I had, up to that point, my best game ever.
Yeah. Like,
could not hit a bad ball. And it's a weird dichotomy as a punter because I can have a great game and we can get killed, right? Or I can have a shitty game and we can win. And you know, like you want to be part of the team, but it's so individually based. But yeah, I remember that. I want to say I averaged something like 46.7 yards per punt or whatever, but every punt was turning perfect spiral. Even our strength coach, who legitimately hated me, and I was not a big fan of his, came up and said, Dodge, man, great game, right? So you have these different moments where you shine, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm legit.
Yeah.
You know, so that was my best game, my first best game in college. In the pros, it's a tell of two games because playing in the Northeast, you obviously got a shit ton of wind. It's freezing cold.
I bet you the football feels like the
brand new right out of the box footballs. You ever seen how kickoff you have the guy they're like pushing it down because they're just trying to work the ball a little bit. It's like getting a new baseball glove, rubbing mink oil in it.
Yeah.
So the balls are brand new. It's cold, but then you would play, you know, warmer climate places, right? Like playing at Carolina or down in Florida or whatever. But to me, the best was playing in domes. Oh, man, I want to say I averaged close to 50 yards a punt in dome games.
Perfect conditions.
And I'm like, shit, if I got to play 8 games a year in a dome, I mean, I would lead the NFL.
You were asking for a trade to Indianapolis.
Indy or Detroit or New Orleans. Yeah, man, I'm played in all those places. You know, Minnesota. Won a lot of, I think I have I've got special teams player. That's what was against the Vikings. That was a dome game. Won the special teams player of the week because it just takes that, you imagine basketball was inside or out, right? How it would change it a lot. Well, for me, being a punter, I mean, it coming from North Carolina, we've got some wind down here, but it's not nearly like the Meadowlands, man. That place is famous. We had some of the best punters in the league come and play, and they couldn't barely average 40. I'm sitting here like trying not to get cut. And I actually had the highest average in New York Giants history my rookie year, still got cut because it's so tough to be consistent.
Right.
It's like when they go play the British Open, some of the best ball strikers in the world like can't break par because it's just the conditions. So I had a lot of good dome games. My best punt, individual punt in the NFL, I'll tell you two. One was in a game. It was at Dallas. Oh, my God. Dallas was amazing.
Was this the new stadium?
This is the new stadium. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I remember warming up, and I heard, like, AC/DC coming over the loudspeakers. And I looked at the far end zone, and, like, 50 of the most beautiful chicks I've ever seen. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders coming out. And I'm like, sup, 2, 3, 4, what's up? Like neither Roxbury. Like, hey, I'm cool. I'm like, they're definitely gonna want to hang out with me. But they looked like they were not even real, and they did not know I existed. Like I'm
legendary, sure.
But I had a punt. I had a 68-yard punt in the air. Bomb, dude. It felt so good coming off my foot. The only problem was the guy caught it, turned around, ran for a touchdown. But it was beautiful. I remember, what was his name? Des Bryant. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
I think this is his rookie year, and he took it and was like, boop, gone. And I'm chasing after him, and the strength guy was like giving me like the international slow down. I'm like, I got to the sideline, I'm like, what were you doing? He's like, dude, zero chance you're going to catch him, and you're going to blow both your hamstrings out. Like,
We saw your 40.
yeah, dude.
We saw Tampa, you read the 40.
We got your did not complete 40 time from college. So that was my best punt. And then I remember my second training camp, Steve Weatherford came in to compete against me. And maybe we can talk about that going into getting cut. But this was during one practice, and I think the snap, I like dropped a snap or did something, and I was pissed. Next punt, I hit, I'm not exaggerating, probably the longest punt I've ever seen. We snapped it from the 20, right? So I'm standing 15 yards behind. So that means I make contact about the 10-yard line. And it landed in the end zone on the other side. It was 82 yards from the line of scrimmage off my foot. We watched it, and Weatherford said, look, he said, dude, that was the longest punt I've ever seen. When we watched it on film, because they have like a camera behind you and then one in like scaffolding where they're watching the whole team.
Yeah.
In both angles, you couldn't see the ball. You just saw the return man. We're like, so that was the furthest off my foot. I think 82 yards. Traveled 92 yards from my foot. Nuts. Just caught it on the screws.
So we talked about your best. Let's go into the probably.
Let's bring me back down a couple pegs.
Well, I don't want to say it's the worst because.
Oh, it was.
Well, probably at the time it was for sure, but you've capitalized on it, and I think that's one of your strengths. And I think if anyone gets anything from you is that.
All right, stop delaying it, dude. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
I'm saying you could take something bad and turn it into gold. So
trying to.
Let's talk about Philly.
Yep.
Let's talk about
the
punt.
Elephant in the room. The punt. The miracle. There was actually it's actually called the Miracle at the New Meadowlands, which is a beautiful name unless you're on the receiving end.
Yeah.
It was not a miracle. It was a nightmare. So we were playing Philly late in the season. I want to say we were like 9-4, and both of us were pretty. I think both 9-4, something like that.
Fighting for a playoff.
And if we won, it wasn't a guarantee you're going to the playoffs, but you kind of controlled your own destiny. Anyways, that game, Philly has a return man. I believe is he still playing? DeSean Jackson?
I think it is.
And I mentioned that earlier. Some of the most athletic guys on the field are the return men, right? He was probably the most athletic of the most athletic. Ridiculous. Keep you up at night as a punter or as a special teams coordinator. When you're playing him, you're like, how the hell do we game plan against him? Those, like, anytime they touch it, you're silent. I was like, oh, crap. Like,
hold your breath.
And they tell everyone, it's like okay. They let out a sigh of relief when he gets tackled. So, that first half, we were dominating. It was a rout.
What was it, like 34-0 or something?
No, it was something like we were up by like 3 scores at halftime, which is huge. You don't see massive blowouts in NFL like you do in college. And I was having a great game, like forcing fair catches, hitting the ball out of bounds. He was not beating us. I was doing my job. You only got one job. I said that before. Well, fast forward to the fourth quarter, they ended up tying it up. They had a guy, maybe you heard of him, Mike Vick.
Yeah.
And they roared back. The second half, it was complete opposite. Well, anyways, we get the ball back with like a minute left in the game. The score's tied, and I'm thinking, all right, cool, man. We're going to drive down. Like, I know we've did our best to lose it, but we're going to drive down, kick a field goal, win. Still going to be able to party till 6 in the morning in Manhattan, all that stuff. It was a home game, too, by the way.
Yeah.
So we get the ball. Needless to say, fast forward, there's 10 or 11 seconds left on the clock. It's fourth down. And they've got DeSean, and now the little guy, Matt Dodge from Morehead City, North Carolina, is called out, which to go out and punt. So I ran out. Every single person I walked by, the guy selling hot dogs told me, kick the ball out of bounds. Like God said, and on this day you should kick the ball out of bounds, right? That was the strategy. Don't let them beat us, right? If you got to hit the other guy selling hot dogs on the other side, do it, right? You just whatever you do not hit it to him, right? And so that was in my mind. It's kind of like golf. Don't hit it in the water. Don't hit it in the water. Shit, I hit it in the water. So anyways, they kind of stacked the line which sometimes return teams will do that to try and force the kicker to get the ball off. Hey, they're bringing it. You better get it off quick. Anything they can do to get you to rush your delivery or whatever.
Throw you off your game.
Snap was a little bit high, caught it, and in my head, I'm like, got to get it off. Punted it, caught it just a hair inside. It's like I keep going back to golf. But, if you catch it just a little,
little bit.
One groove low or high or whatever, or you put just a little bit side spin on it, screws it up. And instead of the ball going out of bounds, like how it visualized it, it went directly to DESEAN Jackson. A shitty punt, very low hitting time. He actually let it bounce, bounced up perfect, and it could not have been. It was like a silver platter. He caught it, and I'm thinking, oh no. And it was a perfect storm. I'm trying not to get emotional thinking about it because it was very traumatic. And he got it, did what he did. Most athletic guy, best return man in the NFL. Don't let him beat us. Kept me up all week. I had one job to do. Got it. And it was like a literal parting of the Red Sea. DESEAN Jackson versus me, right? I was the last line of defense. And I'm paid to punt a football, not to tackle those guys. And he saw there's no way this guy's hamstring's going to hold up. So he's like, dude, this guy.
Let's face it, DESEAN Jackson could cut on the dime and give you 9 cents change.
Especially with the room like that, dude. He's like, man, this guy just got enough melanin in his skin. I'm gonna go. So he didn't even have to juke me. He ran right by me. I remember diving and face plant onto the field turf. All those little rubber pellets are going in my eyes, and he runs down. I remember there was 10 or 11 seconds, right? So if he ran it straight in, there would still be some time on the clock. He had the presence of mind to look back at the scoreboard, get to the end zone, the goal line, and go parallel to it. 3, 2, 1. Stepped in. Walk off. Pretty crazy. So that night, I learned how big the NFL was. There were 82,000 people there, something around there. Tens of millions have watched that.
Around the world.
That play on, there's a video on YouTube with tons. I mean, I went viral, dude. That video went viral. And got back to the locker room. And usually they'll give you a couple minutes before the media comes in. But you can imagine who they wanted to talk to. And they surrounded me like buzzards on a damn carcass. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. But I remember Lawrence Tynes like, dude, give him you hyenas, give him a couple seconds. He had my back, but I had to face the music, man. And at that time, I could have tried to throw somebody under the bus, right? I could have been like, well, it ain't just my fault. You know what I mean? That would have done no good. But being raised how I was raised, you just own up to it sooner rather than later. Get it over with. Get that ass whooping over with. I remember the next day I called into some big show on ESPN, and they were like, Matt, tell us, is it true? Were you crying at your locker? Did Coach Coughlin come and cut you right there and you were crying? And they asked it just like that. I'm like, well, I'm still here. I don't think I was cut. I wasn't crying, but it was just,
so much
there was blood there was blood in the water, man. TMZ called my sister. People were putting out what I drove. I learned how big the NFL was, but I also learned how big God was, right? How sovereign he was. Because that game, prior to that, close to the guys at One Harbor here in Moorhead, and Donnie and I want to say Matt Bartz, they came up to New York. They were like, hey, we're going to be in New York. Can we get tickets? And I was like, absolutely. So they were at the game. Mm-hmm. And this was right around Christmas time, so my family was all at the game. And now I wanted to go dig a hole and put my head in it, right? But I couldn't. Immediately after the game, I had all my family there. And I remember coming into the players' parking lot still in shock, threw my bag in my trunk, and I slammed that trunk harder than I've ever slammed. I've never shared that, but I thought people looked around, they're like, I was in a very destructive mindset that night. And praise God that I want to say Donnie and Matt, I think they rode with me from the stadium back to my pastor, right, was there. God was sovereign enough that he put people around me that kind of like you, right? They love me for who I am. They don't even care about. They're like, man, what a great game. I'm like, what? And went home. We had like gift exchange. All my family was there, so we had like a Christmas. So even though that was the last thing on planet Earth that I wanted to do was pretend. It was a nice distraction. I remember we ordered pizza. It was pretty amazing how that worked out. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, Donnie Griggs,
that's
Matt Bartz, who was actually my youth football coach. They were there, man. My whole family.
That's a pretty good lesson too. Of you said just go ahead and take your ass whipping and stuff, but I've always said I will take the blame for stuff because it takes the ammunition away from people. You ever argue with somebody and they're like, "You're fat," and you're like, "Okay."
Right.
Fat, and they're like, I don't know what to say now, but not saying it was that extent, but you actually faced it. And
they were, you're right. Because they were, these reporters, they want a story, right? They want controversy. Controversy sells.
Yeah.
So they would have loved for me to come out and say, well, it wasn't my fault. Because one of them actually asked.
Laces out.
One of them even said, like, Matt, I don't know if he was throwing me an olive branch or he was just hoping to get a soundbite, but he's like, Matt, the snap was high. Do you think that impact in something that seemingly innocent? If I would have said, yeah, the snap was high, now that you think about it, the headline would have been, the punter blames veteran, blah, blah, blah. It's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like that could have been a shit storm. But immediately I was like, no, the snap was fine. The snap was perfect. That was all on me.
I think
kind of shut it down.
I went back and looked at some of the one of the things, and you were saying, no, it wasn't a snap I couldn't handle, or something
along those lines. Yeah,
you were like, no, it was just.
I was shutting because I would have accomplished nothing with that, right? The play would have already. It still happened exactly. I would have failed on a monumental level, and I would have looked like a little crybaby.
Yeah, and that's. I think you handled that with dignity, and I think everybody. We all face adversity. And things that are going to kind of knock us down. The last video we talked about that a little bit with myself, but it's our reaction to it. And it's the way we respond to something, the negativity. And even though you were obviously upset, pissed, slammed the car,
there was some woe is me. There was some of that, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
like God, you brought me here just to do like, what the hell?
But also, like we said, God will give you those little testers, and I think that was probably one. And then He gave you, obviously, with David and Matt, with
Donnie,
Donnie.
It was, it reminds me of that poem we had in our house where it's like the two footprints in the sand, and then there's one, and it's like that's when I carried you. Man, dude.
Yeah.
Because if I was by myself, I didn't have that support group. Man, it was like what you mentioned, like God, don't let me wake up. I would have gladly, I would have welcomed that with open arms.
Yeah, because, and it has something to say about us in the South, where we're
always praying not to wake up.
Well, no, we're pretty not forgiving, but we stick by our own and we protect our own. Not saying the people up north don't, because they do as well, but I mean
No, it's different. It's a different culture.
Yeah,
for sure. I wanted people to beat me up, right? Because there's nobody who was beating me up more than myself.
Yeah,
right. I knew I had one job, but it's God's sovereignty, man. Having those guys around, having the family around, having people that were around before football and didn't care. Like I was not cooler in their eyes now because of football. They're just, I still remember, I think it was either Donnie was like, that was a great game, man. How exciting. I'm like, you know what position I play,
Did you
right?
see what happened?
Like, yeah. So it was pretty wild.
So how did the people in Philly perceive you when they
love me?
Yeah. This is
like
one of the stories you told me.
Famous, man. It's funny. Like fast forward, I'm working in the career I'm in now, and we partnered with a firm that's right outside of Philly. They all knew me. like Matt, that guy. I'm known as you're that guy.
You have the Rocky statue of Matt Dodge on there.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like Rocky Balboa, Matt Dodge.
It's me just like, oh no,
or diving.
Yeah, seriously. With like a pulled hamstring. Yeah, no, they love me, man. Not going to buy a beer there. But I mean, even to this day, sports talk radio is huge up there. And I'll have buddies up, because I lived up in Westchester, Pennsylvania for a little while. And they're like, man, they were talking about you on the radio. But it's usually like guys who had a tremendous amount of talent that got out of the NFL too soon or whatever. You know, they're very positive. I learned how big the NFL was. And then coming home, that was, I had some fame playing in the NFL, but being a punter, you don't want to be a famous punter. You're either going to do that by running a 90-yard fake punt, which I know I ain't going to do, or for screwing up. Ray Finkel, right? Finkel is like,
laces out.
You got to be careful what you get famous for. And I remember coming home, speaking to a big church group, kind of give my testimony, and said that, and, trying to play it off like it just happened. It was just one play. Like, any questions you guys have for this really cool NFL guy? And it's like one dude raised his hand, like, man, how fast was that Deshaun Jackson? He looked fast as hell on TV. I'm like, next question. They're like, would you say he's the fastest guy you ever seen?
Next question.
Did you mean to kick it out of bounds? It's crazy.
Look, I've watched that play because you and I are so close, and
I still have not watched it, except when we watched it in film. Haven't watched it once.
I think he was touched 6 or 7 times. Opportunities to be tackled.
Are you still trying to get a soundbite out of me?
No, I'm not. Which was the snap high?
Yeah, that's right.
No, but he
once
was.
And for all.
There were other elements to the thing, but it was.
If it was kicked out of bounds, never would have happened.
Yeah.
Right. So it taught me a lesson. Look, if you're going to screw up, don't be the last guy to screw up. Don't be someone might have screwed up the play before, and they're like, thank God. Hell yeah. How about that? Out. Hey, you missed the block. How about that punter, man? Did you believe he had one job?
But didn't you miss your block? Oh, yeah, but he was supposed to kick it out of bounds. I could kick it out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm a real football player. Remember what he did with that BET channel? Let's talk about that. So, yeah, man. But I appreciate you letting me share that.
Yeah, well, after that, go in briefly to the dismissal when you were cut from the team.
Yep.
I know it's not the most endearing thing you want to talk about.
No, so the second, I mentioned earlier, the difference between the first and second training camp it was night and day. My comfort level was massive. I knew I could just focus on punting. And that training camp, they brought in Steve Weatherford, who actually played at the Jets, coming in, and
he was also another massive dude.
Massive, beat me in everything, dude. Like everything in life. That's how I knew he was going to beat me. But anyways, that preseason, I was actually second in the NFL. I had the second highest average in the NFL, something like 47.1 yards or something, balled out. And generally, if you have the second highest average as a punter, you're going to make it, dude. Like, the problem was Steve was ranked number 1, averaged like 47.3 yards, like 0.1 yards ahead of me. So, and that was a humbling experience, man. Literally everything in my life I wanted to accomplish, Steve had. Like, be on front of Muscular Development or Muscle Magazine, Steve had that. Share showers, Steve had that. Had a faster car than I did. And I remember I had one ace in the hole. Like, he can't beat me on this. I said, Steve, how much did you weigh when you were born? Because I weighed 11 pounds, 8 ounces, right? Massive baby. He was born next to like a power plant.
Yeah.
I was like, Steve, how much, I think this is probably right before I got cut. I'm like, how much did you weigh? And he's like, I think 11 pounds, 12 ounces. I was like, son of a bitch.
God, he beat me there.
Like I just started packing my stuff.
Like, I just cut myself.
But that training camp, because I was coming out of the lockout. And I remember I was in the hotel, and I made it to the last cuts, made it for, Steve. I remember after the last game, I had a great game. So did Steve. He's like, dude, we're both going to be on a roster. Like, either you're going to be here and I'm going to play somewhere else, or vice versa. He's like, you're getting picked up or I'm getting picked up. Like,
yeah.
And I remember I got that call. I was at the hotel, and it's like, hey, coach wants to see you. And you're like, I don't think he wanted me to sign the autographs or anything. I went in there, and it's like, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go with Steve. Talked with the general manager for, Jerry Reese for 2 minutes. And I remember him, and I still had a lot of confidence at that time. Like, I thought, man, it might be actually a good thing to break from New York, just too much history. But he said, man, He's like, I hate that we have to cut you. We're going to be playing you for a long time. You're going to be in this league for a really long time. And never made another team.
And was that by choice, or was that by?
No, I tried. Just
Because I knew you went to Dallas.
Number went to Dallas. That next year, though, I had 15 tryouts.
Yeah.
Every single week. Now, if I'm honest, I just thought it was going to happen. Right? I thought I would I'm going to get picked up. Like, the damn Jerry Reese of the New York Giants said he's going to be playing me for a really long time. He knows what and he was being truthful. But, time goes by, and every year you're not playing, there's another crop of punters that have they just got done playing.
Yeah.
And then eventually you go from having 15 workouts to then the next year having like 2 or 3. And it just never timed up right. Like I'd be punting great and get out there and just something was a little bit off. And just, I got cut. And eventually you're like, shit.
So then
what am I going to do? I got to figure out something now. Like,
I think you've done pretty well for yourself after.
Definitely trying, man.
Working on different projects. You have your career that you're doing now. Yep. Beautiful family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful wife, beautiful baby son.
There's certain things. I mean, life gets clearer. Like there's a reason the windshield's like blurry, the rear view is clear, so things have worked itself out, but I'm sitting here 34. It still feels like I was cut yesterday. Like I'm supposed to get a call and like be back on. Like I can show you journals that I had, my goals and stuff, what it was. My life was going to be completely different from how it's actually played out.
It just goes to show you.
Make God laugh. Tell them your plans. So NFL for me still not for long.
And now you're sitting with me doing a show on YouTube.
Yeah, man. But no, I've got some pretty amazing opportunities. Some things I want to announce on the show here pretty soon. Some projects I'm working on. Actually, a movie that's coming out on Netflix. I'll just tease that out. Pretty cool stuff. So the NFL still, it's a fraternity. Whether you're in there for a year or 10 years. So it's still opening doors. But I thought my life would play out way different than how it has.
Well, I'm not just saying that because you're one of my favorite people, but I'm proud of you, what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you're going to accomplish. And
I didn't make the 30 under 30 list, so I got to go for the 40 under 40 now. Just keep moving that goalpost, dude.
Hey, keep moving it. Got anything else you want to share about it?
No, man. No.
Pretty good. Thank you for sharing all that. I know it's not the easiest thing to talk about. But
thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for allowing me on your... Wait a minute. Shit, it's my channel.
And if anybody posts a comment, how fast is Sean Jackson? Blocked. We will sacrifice that one subscriber.
Actually, I do want to... you guys, leave a comment about that if you're listening.
Leave a comment. What percentage of Deshaun's massive new contract he signed after that am I entitled to?
Did Matt get any of that?
So I'm like Forrest Gump. $1 million wound, but governments keep that money because I haven't seen it.
One nickel. Well, guys, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Hit that subscribe button.
Smash that like button.
There it is. Guys, leave a comment down below. We'll see you on the next video.
Peace.